Hey everyone, it's Strange Michael. I hope you're doing well today. I have a review for a film called Moloch, and this one came out in 2022. I happen to watch it on Shudder. I believe it's a Shudder exclusive or original. I think both of those are just meaning, hey, Shudder made this and it's staying on Shudder, whether you like it or not. Anyway, I love Shudder quite a bit. Moloch is something I watched about 2 weeks ago, and it's really lingered with me. There's a lot of good stuff in the film, I think. It's not like an amazing movie, but I thought it was pretty cool for what it was. Essentially, the film focuses on a family. It's a Dutch film, by the way. Pretty much most of the film is spoken in Dutch. At one point, some of the characters that come from, like, America or Britain or something start speaking in English. That really threw me for a loop. It really fucked with me when that started happening, but that's its own other discussion. It's like halfway through the film. The film is about an hour and 40 minutes, by the way. Essentially, we focus the story here on a mother and daughter where the dad recently died. We don't see that part of the movie. That's kind of discussed later on. But they're living with her mom and parents, or her parents, you know. And essentially, they're kind of in a Dutch area where it's like just them, and then it's kind of a little bit of ways away, there's a village. So they're kind of living a little secluded from the main group in the towns and city and whatever. But around their area, they happen to have a bog as well. And there's even a homeless guy everybody in this city happens to know who happens to wander around. I think he's called like the bag man or the man bag or the handbag man or something like that. He happens to be digging a giant hole. And he keeps digging and digging, and eventually they find him dead when he's scared to death, basically. Yeah, scared to death. They find his dead body, the cops, I mean, and they begin to investigate it, and things are starting to look weird because apparently he started to dig up a woman's body, like a 200-year-old woman body, inside of this grave thing that he was digging. And apparently he heard voices. That's what people are saying. That's what his dad says when our main character comes across him later on. But a group of like exploration types come to this Dutch area, this village, city, whatever, right outside of the city, to start digging and trying to put tents up as an investigator around this body that this homeless man found. And as they dig it up, they find out some more bizarre things about it that may tie to some of the history of this local area. Now, at some point, our main explorer guy meets our main actress that is living with her parents and her daughter. And I really like that family. I think the family are really interesting. This actual situation with, you know, the hidden body that was found and dug up is actually right next door to their house. So eventually they cross paths because something really bad happens with one of the explorers in the group. They happen to come to that family's house, try to attack them for some unknown reason. He keeps mentioning hearing voices as well. It's a little bizarre, not really sure what's up with that. Eventually our main character girl talks to that main leader of the explorers, and she talks more about, she thinks that her family has a curse on it. And she's not really sure why she believes that. A lot of her mom's talk, her grandmother's talk before she died when she was a little girl, a lot of the things that her family typically talk about and believe are tied to this local history that I think was tied to, I can't remember how to pronounce it. It started with an F, but there was some kind of curse that came down through that. You know, it might have the word Moloch, which is a pagan god, kind of tied to this as well. Something bizarre like that. Very creepy, deal with the devil type stuff. So I was interested in that. I was curious what was going to happen there. And I want to say this. The film has some great atmosphere. It's kind of an eerie film. Again, the look of it is beautiful. The cinematography of it is absolutely beautiful. For the kind of movie that it is, I think it really lands a lot of what it wants to do. But the film overall, I don't think is super, super amazing. It's engaging, but not like a great, like I'm going to memorize this for the rest of my life and watch it over and over again. It's not like the new horror classic or anything, obviously. But for what it was, it's well made, it's kind of spooky. It's not really a scary movie. It doesn't really have like jump scares in your face. But when her parents, who are also sick, her father's kind of a little bit off, a little bit mentally off. The mother is like having seizures and stuff. She starts to kind of worry about both of her parents and her daughter being around as well, all of this issue with them. But the eeriness in this film comes from more of the kind of, there's like a score, but it's not really music. It's like, you know, like a soundscape type of thing. A soundscape, I guess, is the best way to explain it. It's kind of a soundscape type thing, and that stuff becomes pretty heavy for this movie, in my opinion. A lot of the focus being around her family and what's happening with them. This potential curse that could exist is pretty cool. I like the background history we get of that later on in the film, closer to the third act. There's just a lot of interesting stuff, but I do think there's a little bit of filler involving like the main character chick and that main explorer guy that I cannot remember his name. I think it's like Jonas or something. Jonas, I think is how they pronounce it. But watching them become friends, I thought was pretty cool. I thought that was really nice. That's not so much the filler part. It's other stuff that happens between them and with them and whatever. And even by the end of the film, I think personally the ending is kind of a bittersweet ending. I'm not really happy with it. I think it's not really satisfying, but I understand why some people might feel that way about this movie. But again, you're really here for like the beautiful cinematography with the bog and the house and everything like that. And again, it has an eerie atmosphere that really kind of brings it together overall. It's nothing, for me personally, it's nothing super special. It's not like a monster film. It's not like a creature feature or a slasher or anything like that. It has elements of that, like the poster shows of all these people in their yard. I'm not going to tell you anything about that, but that was kind of cool. The curse stuff I thought was pretty cool as well. There's a little bit of CGI in the film, and I think that kind of derails this film from feeling like that always serious indie type of movie. That might harm it for you too. I don't know how you feel about that, but for me, it kind of rubbed me the wrong way a lot of the time, if I'm being honest with you. It's not the greatest thing ever, is what I'm trying to tell you. This movie is a little bit, I wouldn't call it sloppy, it's just, it's a little affected by that CGI that's there. But it's very rare, that's the thing. It's just a couple of scenes that have something with CGI in it, and it doesn't always look horrible, but it's a little bit goofy looking for this kind of film, in my personal opinion. Imagine if you had that movie The Witch, or The Vavitch, as the title seems to be spelled out with 2 V's. If you have that, and had like a CGI monster in it, how would that affect that movie for you? I think it would ruin it for a lot of people. I'm not a big fan of it, but it would ruin it for a lot of people who are, I think. That's kind of how I feel with this film. I feel like this film could have benefited not having the CGI aspect, if you will. But overall, when it comes to Moloch, it's not like a huge recommendation for me, but if you like this kind of thing that feels kind of like a drawn-back David Lynch type thing, if you like something that's a little bit less experimental but has a little bit of that in there, this is the kind of movie for you, I think. Moloch is okay. I enjoyed it. I had a good time. Again, I was engaged, but it's not like an amazing movie by any means, as I've said over and over again. But anyway, if I had to rate Moloch on a 5-star basis, I think I would give this probably a 3 out of 5, and it's like a high 3 out of 5. I wouldn't say it's close to a 4, but it's a solid recommendation for me for a lot of you, not all of you, but a lot of you who like this kind of thing. But anyway, have you seen Moloch, the 2022 film? There are other films called Moloch. I believe there's one from like 2020 as well that I almost put the wrong poster up on this video when I tried to pick it out from my laptop before I recorded this review. So be careful about which one you go looking for. It is a 2022 Shudder movie. Anyway, have you seen it? What do you think about it? Put your thoughts and comments down in the comment section down below. I would love to hear what you all have to say about Moloch. Anyway, thank you for watching, guys. God bless you all, and goodbye.